Hey everybody, Autobot John here, and I usually just make videos and post them. But after reading certain things and stuff going on, um, I just wanted to do something. I've never done a live video before, and who knows if this is a hit? I might do some more live stuff in the future. But I started reading today. Wanted to talk about some of them. Well, first let's talk about the Star Wars news. The Star Wars news is pretty interesting because it sounds like Disney pretty much fucked up Star Wars. And if you saw the post trilogy, I guess is what they're calling it. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't like it. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm not as much of a fan as I used to be. And I know there's a lot of people, most of my friends are the same way. I love the original trilogy. I didn't like the Phantom Menace, but I kind of liked Attack of the Clones, and I really liked Revenge of the Sith trilogy that was going to be set after Return of the Jedi. I mean, I was excited because I was like, oh man, we're going to get to see, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, all our favorites again. And we did. But, what did they do? They pretty much did not like how they killed him, but that was also Harrison Ford's decision too. They didn't really do much with Leia. I understand she wasn't going to run around shooting and stuff, but they could have done a little bit more with her. And see, the one who never lost hope in the original trilogy, and they turned him into an old hermit who anymore. And really, to me, I think what Disney messed up on the most was they basically did not respect the original saga, the original trilogy. And it's going to be a success. Another perfect example, and we'll talk about this one another time, is the Terminator movies. Now, Terminator 1 is a classic. Terminator 2 is by far, in my opinion, one of the stepping stones for why movies turned into what they did. The special effects were incredible. It was basically, to me, one of the best sci-fi films of all time. And it changed everything. It set the bar for many films to come. I'm not one of the ones who hate that film. I don't think it's better than Terminator 2 or Terminator 1, but it still, to me, stands up there. I think the story is solid. The action is pretty good. The villain was okay, but Arnold really did a good job coming back as the Terminator. Then after that, they go into Terminator Salvation, and a lot of people didn't like Salvation. I thought it was pretty good. I liked Christian Bale playing John Connor. I loved the futuristic war, even though it wasn't the actual futuristic war. It was just skirmish fighting in the beginning of what would be the futuristic war. But it showed that they were trying something I'm not a fan of, but it's not terrible. Terminator Dark Fate came out, and it didn't get the numbers they wanted, and a lot of people didn't like that they killed John Connor off, and Arnold really didn't do too much in it, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's great, but it was okay. It's a good popcorn film. Now, here's my problem, and this is why I bring up the Terminator, because it's another, like I said, it's a perfect example. So you don't like the films. Does this mean that you can they don't exist anymore? You just can poof them away. They were never created. Well, if that's the case, I love Christopher Reeve as Superman. He will always be my favorite Superman. But as a fan, doesn't mean that I believe there were problems. And Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, are not great films compared to the first two Supermans. No, they're not that good. They're a guilty pleasure. And as a Superman fan, I do enjoy watching them from time to time, but they are not great films. Does this mean that we have the right to say, well, this film wasn't that good and, well, it don't exist anymore? Let's just push it to the side and it never happened. And this is my problem with Star Wars, because it sounds to me that's exactly what Disney wants to do, is they want to basically say, well, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, well, they don't exist. They didn't happen. But now it sounds to me like, after what I've read, is that they basically are saying, well, it did happen, but we're going to come up with this crappy story that makes it to where we can have a multiverse, and these are different films that took place in a different multiverse. And I have a problem with that. Here's my problem with that. You're not fucking Marvel, okay? You're not Marvel. DC is not Marvel. The movie Monsterverse, Godzilla, King Kong, Rodan, they are not Marvel, okay? This is what I wish companies, movie producers would finally get through, okay? Marvel is the one who did the whole cinematic multiverse thing, okay? They nailed it because they knew what they were doing from day one. And they figured out how to get the formula to work, and they made it for films of all time. And I support the boy in blue. But even I, to this day, will tell people that my favorite superhero film to this day is the first Avengers. I think that movie is awesome. I think the first one still stands out to me as probably the best superhero film created so far. But you didn't see Marvel go, well, those other Spider-Man films that had Tobey Maguire in them, they're still part of our universe, but they're in a multiverse. And they didn't take the first god-awful Hulk movie and say, well, it's a multiverse, and Ghost Rider's in a multiverse, and Blade. No, what did they do? They just said, hey, we made these movies. They didn't do too good, and we're just going to try again. They got it right, and now they have their universe with their characters in it. So my problem with what Disney is trying to do is they think this is going to make fans happy. And there are some fans that will be happy about this, and they'll go, oh yeah, we don't have to worry about these films anymore. They're not part of the canon anymore. See, here's my thing. Why do you have to get rid of them? I mean, because even though I didn't like the films, I will admit there were certain things in the films that if they had been fleshed out or done differently, I think the films would have done great. For example, one of the biggest problems I had with the new trilogy was lazy. I thought it didn't make any sense. It just was so stupid. You mean to tell me that this guy's been sitting here for 30 years and just waiting and biding his time? It made no sense. How did he survive? And the thing they've come up with, I don't know if you've read it or not, but the thing that they're saying, or so far the rumors are, is that there was something called the Veil of the Force. And they're saying that the idea is that it's like this mirror room that the Emperor has, and he can jump into different timelines. Or at the end, when Vader throws the Emperor off of the balcony and he's fallen to his death, that they're saying that the idea is that the Emperor opens up one of these mirrors and he goes into it, and this is how he survived, and this is how we get the new trilogy. It sounds really dumb to me. Some people might like it, but I think it sounds made up as hell and stupid, and it doesn't even seem like it has anything it doesn't even sound like anything from, okay, we will just let this happen, but we'll keep him trapped in this mirror. In other words, he opens it up, but he never can get out of it. The Emperor doesn't survive. Okay, well, here's my problem with that. You clearly did let him survive. You can't just take a great actor like Ian McDermott and say, well, thanks for all your creativeness that you gave us, because in no way, shape, or form do I blame the Rise of Skywalker's destruction on the Emperor. Not one bit. Do I hate the fact that they brought him in and they just kind of shoehorned him into the film? Yeah, but I must admit that anytime the Emperor was on the screen, I enjoyed the hell out of it. You know why? Because it made me think of the original movies. Do you know why I like The Force Awakens? Because Han Solo is in it. Even though they kill him off, I enjoyed seeing Chewie. I enjoyed seeing Han. I enjoyed seeing Leia. I liked seeing Lando. I wish Lando had a bigger role. Lando, to me, always deserved a bigger role. I can't say that I enjoyed seeing Luke Skywalker. I kind of felt ripped off. I felt gypped because at the end of The Force Awakens, when Rey hands him that lightsaber and he holds it, he kind of has this look on his face, and you leave the theater and you're like, oh man, and the next one he's going to train her, and we're going to see Luke come back and he's going to have to help them. Star Wars old fans, we just took your trilogy and threw it over our shoulders. I thought that was so insulting. And then they have the guts to sit there in all these interviews and say, well, we make these movies for the fans. I don't think you did at all. I think you made it for the money. You took a great franchise, and what you did was you put it in a compactor, and you squeezed out as much money out of this thing as you could, and now you've squeezed all the money out you can get, and you don't know what to fucking do now. You can't go forward because there's nothing to go forward to. So now they're saying that the idea is, well, we're going to. Well, first they said we're going to make a new trilogy, and it's not gonna deal with the Skywalkers. It's gonna be something totally different that we've never seen before. And at first I'm like, okay, well, will it have Jedi in it? Well, I've seen the Jedi. Will it have the Empire or a version of the Empire? I've seen that before. I don't see the new formula. Okay. So I'm not saying I'm against it, but I'm saying, you come out and say it's going to be something new that we've never seen before. Prove it. What are you going to show us we haven't seen? Then, what was it? A few months ago, I started hearing rumors online. And remember, these are just rumors. Nothing's proven. But when John Campy and them talk about it, I take it to pretty much heart. Because most of the stuff that he talks about on his show is usually correct or close to it. And the rumor that I read online from a bunch of different sources was, well, it is going to still deal with the Skywalker saga somehow, because now they're saying it's going to go back and it's going to deal with Luke Skywalker's son. What? Okay, so Luke Skywalker apparently has a son, or had a son. We didn't even know he was married. Now, the ones that followed the comic books and the books that are not canon anymore know of Mara Jade. And that's another thing I was pissed off about. That was such a good character, and I thought she was going to be in the future. We're going to see the twins, and no, that none of that ever happened. So I guess Luke just stayed a single guy his whole life. He never dated or anything like that. I don't know. But now they're saying that the idea is, well, it still deals with the Skywalker saga in some form, because it's going to deal with Luke's son. Yeah, explain that one. You're going to have to really explain that one. Whatever. The problem is, the true Star Wars fan is not an idiot. Disney thinks we are. Kathleen Kennedy thinks we are. They think just because if they put... I only went to see The Rise of Skywalker because it was the final film, and I wanted to see how bad they were going to fuck it up, because I knew it was going to be a fucking mess. Anybody who saw The Last Jedi saw that train wreck coming. Because I won't even watch The Last Jedi anymore. I've seen it twice, and that's all I need to see it. In fact, in my collection, I have The Force Awakens, and I didn't even buy the other two. I didn't buy Solo. I didn't buy Rogue One. I think that was the name of it. Was it Rogue One? Anyway, whatever that movie's called. I didn't buy that. Not that I didn't like it. It's just it has no place to me in the Star Wars movie saga, whatever you want to call it. Now, here's my problem with this multiverse idea. And I'm going to bring DC into this one. And yes, I'm going to bash the Man of Steel. Not the movie, but the actual character. But first, we're going to bring up Batman. Now, anybody who's a kid from the... I grew up with Michael Keaton as my Batman. He is the Batman I first saw. I loved that guy. Those movies were awesome. And it broke my heart when they put somebody else in the bat suit and made a crappy film. Knowing what we could have got for a third movie, later on, you hear about the rumors and the ideas of Tim Burton, and you're like, my God, why? Return scared kids. I watched it as a kid. I thought it was awesome. But anyway, so Batman as a subject. Okay, so Michael Keaton apparently rumored to come back as Batman. Didn't say Bruce Wayne, it said Batman. So does this mean he's putting the suit back on? At his age, do I think he could still wear the suit? I'd love to see him in the damn suit. That's a lot of stuff. Now, the funny thing is when I first heard this rumor, it was for Flashpoint. They came out and said that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman again in Flashpoint. And I'm all cool with that because anybody who's read Flashpoint, you know where that was going. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. This is awesome. We get to see Keaton again. This is going to be cool as shit. Now they're saying that if Keaton doesn't go through with the Flashpoint, they want Christian Bale to come back as Batman. But I thought the rumor was that Keaton was on board to play Batman. That's all I kept reading was, hey, Keaton's already basically said, yeah. And then he's going to do multiple films, including Batman Beyond. But now they're saying that, well, you know, it may not happen and we might get Christian Bale. And then no offense to Mr. Bale, if you're watching this video, I think you are a great actor. You're not Batman. Okay? The movies were good. But I didn't care for your take on Batman. First of all, I couldn't understand most of anything you said. The suit looked terrible. It just looked god-awful to me. I think the one in Batman Begins should have been the suit he stayed with, because when he started adding all the tech and everything, it just, to me, it looked weird. The cowl looked weird. And all you true fans out there, please don't get offended by this, but you know damn well that the only reason the Dark Knight movie did as good as it did was because of Heath Ledger as the Joker. Good, but Ledger made that film. You know how I can prove that? Go and look at the ratings and the total amount made for The Dark Knight Rises compared to The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight surpassed it. And even though Bane is such a great character, he still didn't hold the film up as high as the Joker. And then people come back and say, well, it was because the Joker was in it. Everybody loves the Joker. That ain't true because, there you go. But anyway, not trying to get off subject. So anyway, you got Christian Bale might be coming back as Batman if Michael Keaton isn't on board. Okay. Well, that's two Batmans right there, right? Well, wait a minute. Now they have Robert Pattinson playing Batman in The Batman. 3 Batmans? Then I read today that if Zack Snyder could be doing some more stuff in the future with HBO Max, which might include television shows, special appearances, and feature films, but only for HBO Max. But the rumor is that Zack Snyder, if he does do this, Ben Affleck will be back as Batman. And it just says that Affleck has expressed interest to play Batman again, but with the Zack Snyder universe. 4 Batmans. To me, this is cool. What about your average moviegoer who just knows a Batman at the same time? So this is going to be kind of weird. And so basically what DC has done, in my opinion, is they don't have a cinematic universe. They went and they're doing this guy deserves this guy's gonna have his own movie, but it's gonna be in this title over here. This one's gonna have this. Flashpoint's gonna take place here. Superman, Batman, Justice League, that's gonna be here with the Snyder universe here. We're gonna make this here. Wonder Woman takes place here. And what the hell are you doing? Try categorizing those films and then try to put those in order. You can't, because there's no order to them except for Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and maybe I throw Wonder Woman and Aquaman into it. So just when I thought DC is getting all their shit together, it sounds to me like they are back again to where they don't really have a plan going forward still. And this is my point to Star Wars, because it's a perfect example. To me, it sounds like they're panicking. They know they screwed up. They know they've lost the fan support, and they don't know what to do next. So what are they going to do? They come up with this crappy thing that was on Rebels, a kid's cartoon, and they're going to say that, well, this is the idea, and that's it. And if they go with it, you have to go with it. So basically, they're going to say that this erases the new trilogy. Okay, well, if you do that, I'm going to tell you that's the dumbest move I've ever heard of. And then you got people who are comparing it to Star Trek. How Star Trek, they said they did the same thing. That Abrams kind of did something similar to continue on the movies. But it made sense. It made sense the way that the Romulan guy came back in time and he destroyed Vulcan, but he destroyed Kirk's father's ship and changed the events of the future. That's the key that they're not understanding. It ain't that they wiped out the original Star Trek films. Like, oh, no, this never happened. The Next Generation never happened. No, they're saying that what happened was this guy came in and he basically did something and it changed the events of how certain things are going to play out. It didn't change the characters. It didn't change what's going to happen. It just changed how it may happen. Star Wars is just saying, well, this happens, and if it does happen, then this never happens. It doesn't just change the events of what's going to happen. It just never happens. I'm against that. Here's my reason why. Rey is a good character. I liked Rey. Do I have a problem that Rey is a female? Absolutely 100% no. I thought Rey was awesome. I hated her lineage at the end where we found out that she's a Palpatine. I really didn't like that she just... I really wanted to find out that she was related to Luke Skywalker somehow. Or Obi-Wan. That would have been even cooler. Like she's Obi-Wan's great-granddaughter or some crap like that. The way Han kind of recognized her in the Force Awakens, I kind of wish that she had turned out to been like Han and Leia's child, sister to Kylo Ren. But anyway, I liked Rey. I liked Finn. I don't think Finn got a fair shot. I think Finn had more potential than they gave him. His stupid little love connection with Rose, I'm glad they did kind of lower that down in the last film, but that second one suffered big time. Rose was a dumb character and did not need to be in these films. She just didn't need to be in them. There was no point for her in these films at all. She was the Jar Jar Binks of the new trilogy, in my opinion. Poe Dameron was supposed to be the next Han Solo. You saw how it was going, and they really blew it on him. I think he should have been given a lot more to do. I could go on all day and write you problems with the new trilogy. But here's what I'm thinking someone should do. Instead of let's erase the trilogy, we have the technology now, and we have the time, and I have the patience. Why don't somebody just go and rewrite them and fix the problems? Okay, problem number one, we don't need the fucking Emperor. No offense to the Ian McDiarmid, we don't need the Emperor. He had his time. He doesn't need. They can mention him, but we don't need the Emperor shoehorned into this new trilogy. You don't need him. He's done. All right, he's dead. He died. I think that what sucks is that we never got to find out anything about the guy because he got killed off in the dumbest way. You're all powerful, and you say you can sense the past, the present, and the future, but you cannot sense a rusty metal lightsaber sitting next to you on your chair, and it's turning towards you. You're just sitting right next to it, and you can't hear that. That made no sense to me, and that's how they killed him. And it was so. I'm like, really? This is supposed to be the bad guy for the new trilogy, and you just killed him off, and that's how you decided to kill him. So that's my first thing that I think someone should fix. It can't be fixed. I really think these films can be fixed to where you don't have to get rid of them. You can just fix the problems. And there are a lot of problems, but they can be fixed. So Snoke dying is the number one pick for me. You need to keep him around, and we need another backstory on him. Maybe we can find out he is related to the Emperor. Maybe he was the Emperor's last apprentice that we never knew about, and this is all a revenge thing. That would be really, really cool. The second biggest thing, do Luke Skywalker right. Okay? Don't give us this version of a secluded, I don't care anymore, I've given up Luke Skywalker. I think what would have been cool is if they had brought him into it. He didn't want to train Rey, not because he was afraid, because he had seen where it had gone wrong with Kylo Ren, and he didn't want to take it. And I did like that storyline. The Knights of Ren, that whole thing where they burnt down the Jedi temple he was teaching to make it better, was that after he has his little stick fight with Rey, he comes to the realization after talking to Yoda that he is still needed. His time is not done, and that the rebellion still needs him. Then we skip to Crate. They're being attacked. Kylo Ren is up there shooting. All that war stuff's going on. And just when the rebels' base has been blown, the front door's been blown up, it looks like everything's over. Kylo Ren comes out with his forces. They're walking toward the inside to get inside of the base. Luke Skywalker comes out of the smoke of the door that has been blown up in his Jedi robe, in his black gear from Return of the Jedi or something close to it, and he stops, and Kylo Ren looks at him, and they kind of have like eye contact, and Kylo Ren says, "You shouldn't have come. I'm going to kill you now. This ends today." And then Luke says that you got everything wrong. This is not the end of the Jedi. The rebellion is reborn today, and I will not be last. And then as Kylo is approaching him, he pulls out his green, get that, green lightsaber, switches it on, and says something like, "You don't want to do this. You can't win." And they have an actual, it's still holding Kylo Ren at bay. Kylo's getting upset. They're still fighting. And somehow Rey gets an advantage. He cuts Luke on the arm or on the leg. Luke, and then out of nowhere, Rey comes in and stops the killing blow. Kylo and Rey fight a little bit, and then she somehow beats him, picks Luke up, puts him in the Millennium Falcon, and they all get away just like they did at the end. Kylo's pissed, and that's how the movie ends, with Kylo Ren basically winning, but Luke Skywalker realizing that he's not done and that he can still help out. And instead of killing himself in a dumbass way, he actually, and they show Rey and Luke look at each other. Leia's looking at Luke, and they say something, and then Luke's like, this war just began, and I'm a part of it now, and I'm here to help. And that's how the movie ends. I think if you'd have changed those two things right there, you might have had a better film. Because I don't know about everybody, starts fighting Kylo Ren. I thought it was awesome until I realized it wasn't really him. It was a force projection. And then the greatest Jedi, the most powerful Jedi in Star Wars, dies because he used the last of his power to project himself across the galaxy. That is a lazy way to kill a beloved character off. I think if you were going to do that, what you should have done instead is my idea, but maybe instead of Rey helping him, she tries to help him, but she's too late, and she sees Luke killed off by Kylo Ren. Would it have sucked if they killed Luke off? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't like when they did it in the film to begin with. But I think his death would have held a better meaning. It would have brought the rebels together. It would have kind of given Rey this Skywalker deserved instead of dying on a pile of rocks. Now, with that, I think if they had that way, the Rise of Skywalker would have been a lot different, or they could have made it a lot different. Now, remember, these are just my ideas. I think these are what I would have liked to see. You know what really made me mad is it's called The Rise of Skywalker. And at the end, we find out that Ben turns to the good side, right? He killed the Knights of Ren, and he got thrown off a cliff by the Emperor. I think that there should have been a better fight at the end of the Rise of Skywalker. I think that Ben and Rey should have fought the Emperor. You know, he was getting his strength and I guess kind of his youth back. They should have had some kind of big lightsaber battle. Instead, he shoots lightning, and Rey hears all the Jedi, and all of a sudden she's got two lightsabers, and she shoots the Emperor with his lightning and disintegrates him, right? Here's my problem with that. If you remember to strike him down anyway so he could pass into her. So the thing when I was watching it is, okay, so you just killed the Emperor. Isn't that what he wanted to? He wanted that anyway, so didn't you just give him what he wanted? So how did he die? How did he disintegrate? Why didn't he? So yeah, it was all botched, and I'm not saying it can be saved. I'm just saying that my opinion is I don't feel you can just erase a film because they didn't do good. I just don't think that's right. I think it's an insult to the directors. I think it's an insult to the actors and the actresses who were in the film. I also think that, and I'm one of them, and I'll be the first to say it, that fans are spoiled bitches. We expect everything our way. I am the first one to admit that. If I read this on a comic book, when I go to see this in the film, I want it to look just like this. I want it to be just like this. I want the story to be like this. I want the character to look like what I know. And then when I go to see the movie, if it doesn't look like that, I kind of like, okay, I don't like this film. I never stopped to think that the character may not look good on film looking like this. Another perfect example of this is everybody always brings up Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Oh, Hugh Jackman never put. From a movie point of view, would you really want to see Hugh Jackman in that costume on screen? It may look good for like a couple of minutes, but then you're going to start being like, yeah, this looks kind of cartoony and foolish. I can understand why they didn't do that. But with Star Wars, it's already supposed to be foolish and stupid. We're in a galaxy where little creatures are running around and bot droids are everywhere. And I mean, come on. You're supposed to check your brains at the door, you know? It's not supposed to, you're not supposed to sit there watching the films and go, well, you know, the science of this makes no sense. No, but that doesn't mean you can't go to the movie and say, well, this doesn't really fit in. This ain't making sense. And this doesn't tie into what the original trilogy did. And why would he act like this? It makes no sense, because we're human and everybody's going to do that. And everybody does do that. But just erasing movies because they weren't. I can start, let's say, okay, pretty much all the Terminators except Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, definitely. Superman 3, and whatever this third one that's getting ready to come out, it's probably going to be up there too. Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, the Predator, because I thought Predators was actually pretty good. God, all the Transformer films except for like the first one and maybe Dark of the Moon. Others are terrible. Spider-Man 3, X-Men 3, First Class, X-Men Apocalypse. You know, the list goes on and on of movies that you could. Jaws 3, Jaws 4. So do we just erase all these because they sucked? Because we didn't like them? Because they didn't make the money that the first ones made? Or do you stop and say, it's just a fucking movie? You know? It's not real life. We got more important things going on right now. But my message to Disney is this. Before you jump the gun and just say, well, we're going to do this, and really just shows that you have no creativity whatsoever, why don't you do this? Why don't you take the scripts from The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and why don't you actually fucking read what you put on paper? And you read it and say, yeah, does this really make sense? Did we really need this in the film? You can leave that whole casino scene out of The Last Jedi, and I bet you'd make everybody happy. Okay? Now, you also need to understand that you cannot please every fan, because where there are 20 fans who piss those fans off. So you can't win this war. You really can't. All you can do is go forward with whatever plans you got and try to make it work, or you can go back and you can say, you know what? We can try to fix what we've done already, which you probably have unused footage or stuff that didn't make it into the film, and able to come back and reshoot new scenes as Luke Skywalker. If you told him that, hey, we did you wrong, we are sorry, and we want to do Luke right this time. Give Luke Skywalker the send-off that guy deserves, because what you did to him was a kick in the face to every Star Wars fan since the beginning of the film trilogy, since the beginning. You know? Because what you did to the original characters was insulting, and you made us feel stupid. Like, oh, well, you know, we're going to throw your favorites in it just to kill them off. You want another perfect example, and the kids may not know what I'm talking about, but anybody from the 80s and 90s knows this, the original Transformers movie, the 1989 animated film. To me, was awesome, the film. But not at first. You know why? Because when you stop and think about it, all that movie is a giant toy commercial advertising for the new line that's coming out. Because what they did was in the first 20 minutes of the film, they took every toy that your parents bought you and they killed them off. And then they killed Optimus Prime, and they, like, it was nothing. I cried in the movie theater when they killed him. I was so upset. That's what you did, Disney. Kathleen Kennedy. You killed Luke Skywalker. You crushed the hopes of all Star Wars fans. Now, we are not stupid. We know eventually the character will die. But the guy deserved a better send-off. Actually, I mean, he saved the fucking galaxy, for God's sake. He ended the Empire. He defeated Vader. He destroyed the Death Star. The guy was a hero, and you turned him into the biggest jackass in Star Wars. And that is what I can't forgive you for. I think you should fix what you messed up and own it. Stop making excuses. Well, it was this person, and it was this person. If you were involved working with The Last Jedi, and you were involved working with the Rise of Skywalker, and I don't mean the actors and the actresses, I mean the writers, the producers, the directors, the person that got the coffee for the directors, the person that wrote the script, everybody involved. It's your fault. Take ownership of it. How these work, I was hoping, I guess people can chime in if they wanted to. I've never done live streams before, so I hope you guys forgive me for this one. Sorry it keeps looking like I'm looking down, but my camera is actually here, and I'm looking at the screen, so it's because the screen on my computer's broke, so I had to buy one of these separate monitors. Stream thing is pretty cool. So I was just wondering, is this something you guys might be interested in? Because I haven't been on YouTube as much as I used to. I used to make videos all the time of my customs, or sometimes I'd have a movie kind of review or rant or something. I just haven't been on a lot because of my job. I have a job that by the time I get home, I'm really tired. Stuff around the house, commissions, personal projects. And I'd like to get back on YouTube and start making some more videos. But these live streams are pretty interesting. And we can talk about all sorts of stuff. In fact, I'd like to set one up if you guys are interested. Just watch for it. But sometime Friday night, I would like to do a live stream for anybody interested. And I just want to talk Supernatural, the television show, my favorite show of all time. As we all know that watch the show, this is the last season. We've kind of got a blessing with this Corona thing because they weren't able to film the final episodes. And yes, it sucks to not know how it ends, but at the same time, it hasn't ended. And that's what's cool is it's still going. So it's still alive for a little bit longer. But if I'd like to go back and maybe discuss the seasons, the characters, customs of the show, anything you guys want to talk about. So let's just say that this next stream will be basically Supernatural, might have some other stuff in it. But if you're interested, I will be on sometime Friday night. Just look for me and send me questions, something like that, or we can, if you don't agree with one of my opinions, let me know. And I never get offended. I think it's cool people don't agree, because if everybody agreed, this would be a pretty boring damn world. And right now, this world is anything but damn boring. But just something to get everybody's mind off of current situations, and just to get back out there and talk to my buds again. I talk to people on Facebook all the time, but I mean, there are people that I haven't talked to in years and would love to reconnect with those people, and they know who they are. For instance, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, there's my buddy right there, One's Customs. What is up, One? I haven't talked to you in, I don't know how long it's been, man. We have got to catch back up. I will try to hit you up whenever I can. If you are on Facebook, man, I'll look you up. I have still been watching your videos whenever you put them out. I've seen people show your work off, and man, you have knocked it out of the park, man. Everything you make has just God. And if anybody wants to know, this is one of the guys who inspired me to do what I'm doing right now. He's just freaking, man, his work is incredible. Then you got Beto, you got Darth Magnus, you got Silent Surfer. These were like the forefront guys of the custom world, man. These are the guys that I saw their work and I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And I'm still at it. And I think I've gotten a lot better. I'm still improving here. This goes on, guys. So that'd be another good discussion right there. Let's, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So the Supernatural one, I'm going to push off. The one I want to do next will be sometime Friday night, and it's going to be on 1/6 Customs. And if you have any questions about paint jobs, hair rooting, where to buy certain things, who sells what, who does painting, if you don't know how to mix certain colors to get another color, how to apply certain things, how to weather clothing, this is the video that I will try to explain all the stuff I know. And then maybe we can get people to chime in who do this for a living, and they can give some hints if they don't mind. And this is a video to not only catch up with my buddies and all my old custom friends, but for the new guys out there who, you want to do this, but you don't know what you're doing, or you have questions. And this is my chance to help pass the torch and help out the next generation of customizers. They're out there. They're just kind of nervous. I'm always getting questions about, hey, how do you do this? And where did you get this? And how did you apply this? And how did you do the blood on this? And I'll answer those. I'll answer all those questions to the best of my ability. The godfathers of the community will chime in, and it'll just be a fun time, guys. The only thing I'm going to say is let's bring good attitudes to this next discussion. No politics. I've had enough of the damn politics. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, you want to see Trump burn, you want to see Trump be elected again, going on with the police. Let's leave all that crap at the door, and let's just have a good time and try to remember what having fun is like, because right now it's hard to. So yeah, I'm gonna, I'll be back on YouTube here and there with some more videos. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And to all my buddies, I look forward to talking to you. I'll see you guys on Friday night sometime. It may be a little late, but we'll get this done. Ever talked to One's Customs, or you've never seen his work, go right now to the YouTube homepage, type One's Customs, and prepare to be blown away, man. His old videos are amazing. His new stuff is even better, and the guy is just getting better and better and better. And he's awesome. What can I say? He is just an awesome guy. And then I've got my buddy Nathan Eaton's, Jacob Ramir, Thomas Turbank. Damn, there's so many people, man. What was Elvis 1970? Good guys, man, and they're really good guys, and I hope they chime in. I'm inviting all you guys to join me on Friday night. Let's reconnect, man. But at the same time, like I said, let's help these younger guys and get them where they want to be. Some custom prep, and hopefully we'll be able to help these guys out just like you guys helped me out. So much love, peace, guys, and just be good to each other, man. And yeah, see you guys Friday sometime.